This is a complete walkthrough guide of the Liberty Falls Easter egg inside of Black Ops 6 Zombies. There's a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. To start this main Easter egg, all you have to do is get into the church one way or another. And once you get into the church, have unlocked Pack-a-Punch, you want to interact with the giant machine on the right wall. Once you do this, you are going to be flashbanged and you're going to have a character start talking to you. This character is going to essentially walk you through the entire Easter egg and ask you to find a lot of different parts. This first interaction with Panos, the character that starts talking to you randomly, is going to talk for a while, but once he stops talking, all you want to do is go and interact with the big machine once again. Once you interact with this machine, you're actually going to need to go and craft or either get from the mystery box the jet gun as you see on my screen. So I'm going to walk you through how you can actually craft the jet gun right now. To start off, you need to find the crafting station, which can actually be found right in the spawn area inside of the motel. Follow the pathing I'm showing you at the motel, and once you get to a certain level of the motel, a door is going to bash open and a ton of zombies are going to rush you. Deal with all these zombies, and inside of this room, you're actually going to see the jet gun partially created. What you're obviously going to have to do at this point is find the different components to actually complete crafting the entire jet gun. Part number one is going to take you to two separate locations. Go to the location on the map that I'm showing you, which is actually going to be a flower shop just to the right of Speed Cola. Interact with this small hose and you're going to be able to take the top part of this hose, which you need to use inside of the bowling alley. Now inside of the bowling alley, you're looking for a white panel. Once you see this white panel, all you have to do is go up to the panel and melee it. You will then be able to place the water valve into this particular location, and all you're going to have to do is turn this for a certain amount of time. Keep in mind that you will be rushed by a lot of different zombies, not just the ones that are normally spawned during the round that you're on. This meter will also start to go down if you don't interact with it within a certain amount of time since your last interaction with it. So if you're doing this solo, it is going to be a little difficult and it's going to take you a lot of time. Just stick with it. It will eventually reach the top part of the water pressure meter. Once this water pressure meter gets to the very top, you're actually going to see the valves on this water pressure pop off. This is going to be your first part of the jet gun. For the second part, you're going to need a Mangler Cannon. There's a couple different ways you can get a Mangler Cannon. You can craft it at a crafting bench for a certain amount of salvage, or you can actually shoot it off of a Mangler inside of the higher rounds. However you end up getting a Mangler Cannon doesn't matter as long as you have one in your inventory, and make your way over to the radio house, which is in the top right section of this entire map. Use the cannon to bust down the door, and inside you're going to see a couple different piles of random items that you need to go and sort through. What you're looking for is actually a bunch of wiring that is going to pop out of one of these random stacks of items. Now the wiring hasn't popped out of the same exact pile for me every time I've done this, so you might as well try every single stack until it does pop out for you. But now that you have the wires, let's move on to the final piece to craft the jet gun. For this final piece, you need to make your way to the graveyard, which is going to be right next to the church. Now what you want to do is just start slaying zombies until a very particular zombie, a named zombie, spawns. This zombie is actually going to be called the Gravekeeper, and he's going to look exactly like this. All you have to do is slay this guy and you're actually going to have a set of keys drop from his body. Once you have these keys in your inventory, make your way to the house that's just down the street from the graveyard and church. This set of keys actually goes to a small shed in the back right next to a car. It's just seeming that it doesn't have anything important about it, and I think that's kind of the idea. Interact with the door, and once the door opens, you will actually see the handbrake item, which is going to be your final piece to actually crafting the jet gun. Return back to the motel in the particular room where you see the crafting table with the jet gun. Interact with it and you will be able to get a free jet gun, which is fantastic. Of course, you can get this out of the mystery box. You can also get it using very specific gobble gums, but this is the way that you can guarantee getting it. So now that you have the jet gun, let's move back to the church to get one of three parts to continue the main Easter egg. Back inside the church where you saw Panos talking to you originally, you saw a floating object. That object can only be grabbed by using the jet gun. So suck in this item and it's going to be one of 3 items that you need to go and craft a very unique item to continue the main Easter egg. The second item can be found not too far away, and thankfully this map isn't all that large, so you can run to it very quickly after you get the first part inside of the church. Follow the pathing that I'm showing you and get to the building just above where Speed Cola is located. Time your jump to get on top of the van, and inside of the building you just jumped from, inside of a window you will see a glowing part. Simply use the jet gun at the right angle and this part will slowly be sucked towards you. For the third and final part for this new device, you want to make your way into the comic book store. Inside of the broken ceiling, you're going to see a purple glowing item that you once again need to use the jet gun to suck down from the ceiling into your inventory. Now that you have all three of these items, you actually need to get to the top of the bank. Once you are on top of the bank, you're going to see a crafting table in one of the corners on the roof. All you have to do is of course start crafting the item that you are getting all these parts for to continue the Easter egg. This device is going to be called the LTG device. It's going to play a big role inside of this Easter egg. But now that you have the LTG device inside your inventory, make your way back to the church and actually interact with the giant machine. What you're going to see is that there is a cylinder available for you to pick up. What you're going to have to do is take the cylinder all the way back down to the gas station at the spawn point. You will not be able to sprint while you have this device, just keep that in mind as you're transporting it across the entire map. Once you're at the gas station, you want to drop the canister next to one of the three different locations that the trap in the area is activated and uses its effect. Once the canister is placed, I want you to use the LTG device right next to the Dark Ether Storm, which is just a little bit away from the gas station itself. Plant the LTG device in the location underneath this Dark Ether Storm, and you're going to need to protect it for about a minute. Once that minute is up, you're actually going to have an HVT spawn, and it's going to be very, very tanky. Your next goal is to get it weak enough and lead it to where you just placed the canister. Once the particular HVT that spawns for you starts glowing purple, you want to turn on the trap and lead the HVT to where the canister is inside of the trap and kill it before the trap turns off. You will know you have done this successfully when you see a purple spirit fly into the canister. This next part is that you're going to have to carry the canister back up to the church. And as you see on the left side of your screen, you have to do it within a minute 30 seconds. Now again, while you're holding this canister, you're not allowed to sprint, but a minute 30 seconds is more than enough time as long as you beeline towards the church. Once in the church, interact with the giant machine again, and that cylinder you've been carrying with that Dark Ether Soul is going to be slid into the same slot you took it from originally. Make sure you go back and get the LTG device because you're going to need it again later on in the Easter egg. Now once you insert that first cylinder, a small drawer is going to open up and you're going to be given the Strauss counter. You're going to use the Strauss counter to go and find 3 individual beacons that are scattered across the map. Now the first device is found between the church and the bowling alley going down a slope of grass, but something important to keep in mind is how to determine what colors to change on these devices. If the Strauss counter shows a green color, you need to change the button to red. If it shows a yellow color on the Strauss counter, you keep it at yellow, and if it shows red on the Strauss counter, you change the button to green. So since my counter was green, I changed it to red. Now thankfully the second device on the list of 3 is not very far. It's going to be the closest house to the graveyard. All you have to do is go around the back of the house and go to a small clearing of grass, and you're going to see this device chilling in the middle of the grass. Now since my Strauss counter is yellow, I need to change the button on the right to match yellow. Now if it was red, I would actually need to change that button on the right of the device to green. Now the third and final device can be found on the lower tier of the bank. All you have to do is blow up a small barrier and you'll be able to jump down a ledge to see the final device. For me, it was yellow, so all I have to do is change that button on the right to yellow. You'll know you have gotten the devices with the right colors once all the devices start shooting to one central point right next to the gas station with purple beams. This is going to be the next location that you need to go. What you're going to find at this location is actually the final canister that goes into the big machine inside of the church. What you have to do now is take this particular canister basically halfway to the church where you find another one of those giant electrical traps. Now just like the first time around that we use one of these canisters, you want to place this next to one of the devices that starts the electrical current. I recommend putting it the one that goes up the hill on the street towards the church, because one, that's going to be your closest location to the church itself, where you're going to have to place this third final canister into the giant machine, and it's also going to be the closest point to the HVT that you're going to summon from another storm cloud. Same exact idea of summoning this HVT as the last time. Take the LTG device, put it underneath the giant cloud, protect it for a whole minute. Another HVT will spawn, get it down to where it is purple in color, kill the HVT while it's purple in color with the trap right next to the containment device, the giant cylinder, and then of course take this cylinder back inside of the church to slide it into the third and final slot within a minute 30. Now once you have inserted this third cylinder into the giant machine, the next thing is going to actually be a giant boss fight, so I recommend you get prepared for that as much as possible. Don't worry, it's not going to automatically start until you go and interact with the device itself, and it gives you a warning before you interact with of the device that you're going to be locked inside of the church and fighting all these different zombies. In this fight, your goal is to destroy all the HVTs that are going to spawn inside of this church one by one. Once you have destroyed all of these HVTs, you're actually going to get some dialogue from Panos himself, kind of signifying that you've done everything correctly. Now, I'm not going to spoil any of the fight for you. All you're going to see is the beginning of this interaction, but just know as soon as you have completed this Easter egg, you'll have an option to either exit the game completing the Easter egg or hit continue match to be given a bunch of different rewards that, again, I won't spoil for you, but I definitely recommend you hit continue match so you see it for the first time. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough Easter egg guide. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below so I know that you guys did find it helpful, and let me know your favorite part of this Easter egg down below in the comments as well. Once again, I hope you guys found this walkthrough guide helpful. I'll catch you in the next video.